Jimmy Thang from Maximum PC here at CES 2015. I'm here speaking with Brian at Alienware. And Brian, can you tell us what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so at CES 2015 this year, we've launched and announced the new Alienware 17 and the new Alienware 15. I'll walk through the 17 here. So 17, generation over generation, has gotten a little bit thinner, a little bit lighter, but the real focus is about maintaining the performance, right? And what we've done is we've actually gone above and beyond previous generation performance. So on the Alienware 17, we have the latest Intel Core i7 processors. We have up to 100 watts of graphics performance. So you can get up to an NVIDIA GeForce 980M on the system. You get up to 16 gigs of memory. You can have up to 5 hard drives, so 4 SSDs plus a traditional spinning platter hard drive as well. So you're getting a ton of performance as what you would expect from the 17. Additionally, this is the first time our 17-inch laptop has touch on it. So you can get a 1080p touchscreen on the system as well. So those are kind of the big things from the inside of the 17. We also have support for the Alienware graphics amplifier. So you can plug in the graphics amplifier that has a desktop graphics card inside and take full advantage of that desktop graphics card on the system.
Cool. And one of the criticisms of the old Alienware 17 was that it was thick. This one is a little bit thinner. Can you talk about how much thinner it is, like maybe percentage-wise or and such?
So it's about 20% thinner than the previous generation. And why it's thinner, what we've been able to do is, number one, we removed the optical drive, so that gives you some of the height. But two, we took some of that extra space that we have inside the system and designed around that the thermal management of the system to make sure we're optimizing for graphics and for processor. But that optical drive saves you quite a bit of space. Additionally, by going solid state, you can get a little bit flatter, a little bit thinner on the system. What we were not willing to do, though, is compromise on the performance, on the thermals, or the quality and materials of the system. So we're carrying over the same high-quality Tactics keyboard that we have, that's steel reinforced underneath, so when gamers get a little agitated with what's going on the screen, they have the support. There's no flex on the keyboard and things like that. So while we did get a little bit thinner, the real story is about keeping the performance, keeping the quality, and making sure the craftsmanship is top-notch.
Can you talk about the display? Is it an IPS display? What resolution is it running at?
Sure. So the options on the 17, that we offer two 1080p panels. One is touch, one is non-touch, and it is IPS. So all the Alienware laptops that we've launched here at CES will be IPS panels.
So with other laptop manufacturers moving up to 3K and 4K and things like that, why are you guys deciding to stay at 1080?
So we have 1080 on the 17. We actually offer a 4K touchscreen on our Alienware 15 as well. So on the Alienware 15, so we'll have 4K options there. 17, we're looking at what the options are in the future from an LCD perspective. But right now, 1080 seems to be where the 17-inch space is at.
So some viewers at home might be thinking 4K, you're not ready for 4K performance yet, but if you're able to equip it with the 980, NVIDIA says that's capable of running games at 2560. Yet we haven't really seen that many gaming laptops with that resolution. Can you sort of talk about why you didn't go with that resolution when it was kind of tailored for that?
So I can talk to it. So a lot of it has to do with panel availability, right? So you have there's a lot more in the market from availability perspective to be able to go out and have a 4K 15-inch panel. That's just available more in the marketplace. As the panels become more available on 17, I'm sure Alienware is going to move towards that route. But for right now, from availability perspective, from a quality perspective, we're going to make sure that the quality of the panels that we put in our systems are the best quality panels, right? And we've made a commitment we want to have IPS across all of them. So as the panels become available to our quality specs, we'll look at offering them on our systems. But until we're at that point, we're not comfortable with just putting in any panel.
Okay, and this guy's, it's 17 inches. It's, it's pretty big. Can you talk about the weight, and is this thing supposed to be like a desktop replacement then?
Sure. So I mentioned it's thinner, a little bit lighter than the previous generation, but it's still not a thin and light 17, right? That's not what we're going for, like I mentioned. So this is actually 7.5 pounds, 7.5 pounds. Our 15-inch laptop is 6 pounds. So again, they are thinner. It is a desktop replacement, absolutely. You're talking about having full wattage CPUs, 100 watts graphics card. So it's meant to be a powerhouse system. if you combine the graphics amplifier, you really can replace your desktop from a graphics perspective as well. So from a 4K readiness side that we were talking about, an external panel as an example, that's 4K. With the graphics amplifier, you're going to be able to put in that desktop card. Let's say it's a 980 from NVIDIA in that from a desktop side. You'll be able to play 4K games today if you have the graphics amp and the Alienware 17. And there are games, so I know you know this, but there are games that the Alienware 17, even the Alienware 15, will be able to play in 4K. It's just going to matter about what your in-game settings are, right? So having 4K, maybe you can't play it in ultra settings, right? But if you go mid settings, you'll still be able to get 30 plus frames per second, depending on the game. So 4K gaming you're able to do 4K gaming. It's just going to depend on what the settings are at.
Can you walk us through the rest of the specs, CPU and RAM options and things like that?
Sure. So the 17 will have Core i7 options. One of the things with our processors, when you have the graphics amplifier plugged in and you're running the graphics on the graphics amplifier, our CPUs will overclock. So we're taking since you're not using the discrete graphics card on the notebook, we're using 100% of those thermals to apply it to the CPU. So you're actually overclocking the processor when you have that. So you have Core i7 processors. You have up to the 980M on 17, so you have 970 or 980M graphics. You can have up to 16 gigs of memory, and you can have up to 2 terabytes from a hard drive perspective on a spinning platter, and 512 SSDs.
So this is same across both the 15 and 17 SKUs?
It is the same for 15, 17. There are a couple differences there. Obviously, 15 is a little thinner, a little lighter, a little smaller. You have the 4K panel on the 15, where you have a 1080 and a 4K panel on the 15. Same graphics cards are available. We do have an AMD option on the 15 as well. And those are the big differences behind them, behind the 15 and 17.
Cool, and last two questions, like sort of price and release date, the price range?
Absolutely, so the 17 will start at $14.99 US dollars, and the 15 will start at $11.99 US dollars.
And release date?
I'm sorry?
Release date?
Oh, release date, they're available for sale today on alienware.com.
All right, thank you, Brian. For more on CES, stay tuned to MaximumPC.com.